Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life, and to my Japanese and European viewers, this is a Honda Accord, but to my American viewers, this is a Honda Accord, and this is an Acura TSX, and to my New Zealand and Australian viewers, well, they're both Honda Accords. And in fact, all three are correct, because in Europe, this is a Honda Accord. In Japan, well, this is also a Honda Accord, and this is a Honda Inspire. In America, this is a Honda Accord, and this is an Acura TSX. And to me in New Zealand, this is a 2006 Honda Accord Euro 6B manual that happens to be owned by me, and this is a 2005 Honda Accord V6. And today I'm going to be showing you the differences between these two cars, and then I'm going to take them both for a drive. In terms of exterior styling, there's no denying, at least in my opinion, that the Accord Euro is the better looking car. It's got these nice, sleek looking lights with the projector halogens, which make it look a lot more premium, as opposed to these big bulbous reflector halogens on these ones that don't really look quite as good. And my car also happens to have the sports kit that runs around the front, sides and back, which definitely makes it look a lot more sporty and kind of completes the overall look of the car. Add to that the fact that this V6 has some kind of fairly ordinary looking comfort focused wheels, whereas as standard, at least, these Accord Euros have some much nicer looking sort of Euro R inspired wheels. This, you can tell, is definitely the more sporty option. The facelift versions of these do have some quite nice LED taillights, which I happen to really like, whereas the Accord Euro facelift, pre-facelift looks basically the same. And if you want to know the difference between the pre-facelift and the facelift Accord Euros, then check out my video up here somewhere. So just from looking at these two cars, you can definitely tell that the Accord Euro is the more sporty option, which to me seems a little odd, because the Accord Euro is definitely a little down on power when compared with the V6. This has a K24A3. It's a 2.4 litre four-cylinder engine with 140 kilowatt and 233 newton meters of torque, whereas the Accord V6 has a J30A4, which is a 3 litre V6 single cam, unfortunately, with 177 kilowatt and 285 newton meters of torque. Now, there's no denying that, yes, while the Accord makes less power, it's definitely the more quick revving, higher revving, more sporty, I guess, engine, but certainly on paper, the V6 definitely has an awful lot more power. The interiors are, well, basically identical. The only things that I noticed between these two base model cars is that that Accord Euro has a leather steering wheel, whereas this one has a slightly more ugly four-prong urethane steering wheel. But otherwise, they've got basically the same seats. There is perhaps a little more leg room and boot space in this V6 one, as it's a slightly longer wheelbase. But the gauge clusters on both cars, they're slightly different colors, but basically look exactly the same. All the switch gears the same. They both have the same radio, the same dual zone climate control, the same handbrake. If you get the automatic version like this one of the Accord Euro, the gear shift assembly is basically identical, although the Accord Euro has a Tiptronic mode, whereas this one unfortunately doesn't. Look, there's not really much I can talk about here. These cars are pretty much the same on the interior. Now, for the 0 to 100 test, I thought it might be a little bit unfair of me if I used my modified manual transmission Accord. So I got my hands on an automatic stock Accord Euro for the 0 to 100 test. Okay, so there we go, the Accord Euro Automatic did it in 8.8 seconds, and if you want to see what I could do in my manual car, then click over here. This is me installing the headers, but partway through that video I do a 0 to 100 time in 6.6, which I think is pretty remarkable. And now let's see what the V6 can do. So there we go, the V6 managed to do it in 8.3, so around about half a second faster than the Accord Euro. Okay, you join me here on a motorway in the Accord V6, and let me tell you, this is a lovely car to drive, except the air conditioning's broken. But this car is very pleasant. It is extremely comfortable and nice to drive. Obviously, it's a bit of a boat. It's not the most sporty car in the world, but this is so old. This car came out in like 2003. It's getting on 20 years old now, and yet it feels absolutely fantastic to drive. Some people are about to, what are you doing, silly man? Hit them with some VTEC. Yes. It's not terribly quick. The Accord Euro is, you know, as fast as this, despite the lack of V6. But, oh, the VTEC noise is so good. Listen to this. There it is. Oh, listen to that. Now, if I'm honest, there's not really much point in talking about how sporty this car is to drive, because it isn't. It's a boat. It really is pretty roly-poly through turns. The gearbox is not at all sporty, and while the engine sounds great, it's no sports car, mate. Oh, the handling is very boat-ish. But the comfort though, man, if you just want this as a day-to-day driving to and from work car and occasionally going on a long trip and so on, this car, for the price that you can get one of these things for, will be fantastic. Bit of VTEC. There it is. And you know, I do genuinely enjoy driving this car. Possibly not quite as much as I enjoy driving my Accord Euro, but the sound though is just makes for fantastic theatre and really brings a lift to the experience that you get with this car. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly drive the automatic version of the Accord Euro before jumping into my manual one. But man alive, honestly, just buy this. It does everything the V6 one does just as well, but in the process, at least in my opinion, it looks a whole lot better. It's available with a really, really nice 6-speed manual that you'll get to see in just a moment. And even if you do go with the 5-speed automatic one, the Tiptronic mode is really responsive. You can blip your own downshifts. The engine sounds fantastic, and with an ECU Reflash, it'll be pretty much as fast as that V6 one. And add to that, the steering is much sharper, the handling's way better. Look at this. On just average tyres, it absolutely hauls through that corner. And if you add an intake, headers and exhaust to it, it sounds even better. And is frankly astonishingly fast. Why is this person braking onto a motorway on-ramp? Oh my gosh, you're doing 55 trying to join the motorway. However, the Honda Accord Euro 6-speed manual can solve all problems immediately. This car is astonishing. It really is absolutely incredible. VTEC, and wow, this car hauls. That was quite fast. Only thing with this car that's not great, the brakes suck. Whoo! Wow. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life. And if you like this comparison style video and you want to see another one with me comparing my Accord Euro to a BMW 335i, then click over here. And if you want to see me installing the headers on this car that made it sound the way it does, then click over here. And I will look forward to seeing you again next time.